Every single day, you wake up with a limited amount of energy, mental, emotional, and physical energy. And here's the truth, if you don't protect it, something or someone will drain it. You've felt this before. You've walked away from conversations, places, people, and felt heavier, not lighter. That's not just having a bad day. That's energy being pulled from you. And it's time you stop letting that happen. The hardest thing to admit is that sometimes it's not the workload, the goals, or even the obstacles draining us. It's the people. It's the energy they bring. It's the constant negativity, the passive-aggressive comments, the emotional chaos, the drama, the gossip, the blame, and you've normalized it. You've told yourself that's just how they are. No, that's how they choose to be. And now it's time for you to choose how you want to feel. You can't grow if you're constantly being pulled backwards. Think about it. How can you move forward when your environment is pulling you into emotional exhaustion? How can you stay motivated when you're surrounded by people who don't believe in you, don't support you, or worse, don't even notice when you're silently struggling? You can't. Because your mind becomes a reflection of what you allow around you. And if you keep giving your energy away to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, to draining you, to keeping you small, you are actively delaying the life you deserve. Here's what I need you to hear today. Distance is not cruelty, it's clarity. You are allowed to take space. You are allowed to remove yourself from what makes you anxious, stressed, confused, or tired. You are allowed to say no without explanation. You are allowed to walk away from relationships that drain you, even if they've been part of your life for years. Time doesn't justify toxicity. Loyalty doesn't mean self-abandonment. And love, real love, does not leave you empty. Some of you are still giving unlimited access to people who have proven they don't value your energy. You respond to every message. You show up to every call. You say yes when your heart is screaming no. You ignore the exhaustion. Why? Because you don't want to upset anyone. But let me tell you what's more damaging than upsetting someone else. Constantly upsetting yourself. You matter. Your peace matters. Your future matters. And if that means stepping away from energy that doesn't serve you, then that's exactly what you need to do. You don't owe anyone a seat in your life just because they've been there. You owe yourself honesty. You owe yourself boundaries. And you owe yourself the strength to stand up and say, this energy doesn't feel good anymore. That takes courage. That takes awareness. But that is how you grow. So today, I want you to do something powerful. I want you to audit your circle. Who leaves you feeling inspired, hopeful, energized? Who leaves you feeling confused, tired, inadequate? Pay attention. Your feelings are not random. They are data. They are truth. Stop silencing the signals. Stop gaslighting yourself. Start honoring your inner peace, the life you want. The one filled with joy, success, clarity, and fulfillment doesn't just require ambition. It requires emotional discipline. And emotional discipline sometimes means loving people from a distance. It means letting go of what no longer aligns with who you're becoming. And remember this, your energy is your responsibility. If you don't protect it, no one else will. So stop explaining, stop overthinking, stop waiting for people to change. Distance yourself from what drains you, and you will rise into the strongest, clearest, most empowered version of yourself. Because the most powerful version of you is the one who finally stopped shrinking to keep everyone else comfortable and chose peace over pressure, growth over guilt, and self-respect over approval. Now that's energy that fuels your future. You have to start recognizing the impact your surroundings have on your energy. This isn't just about being tired at the end of the day. This is about understanding why you feel exhausted before your day even begins. You wake up and already feel like you're running on empty. And if you look closely, it's not always your work, your goals, or your habits that are draining you. It's the people. It's the energy they bring into your life that's slowly chipping away at your motivation, your peace, your clarity. You're doing everything you can to move forward, but you keep feeling stuck, heavy, foggy, and it's because you're carrying energy that doesn't belong to you. You weren't meant to carry everyone's problems, emotions, and chaos on your back. You're not responsible for fixing everyone. But you've been acting like you are. You've been tolerating draining conversations, holding space for people who never return the favor, showing up when you don't want to, saying yes when your soul is begging for a break. And now you wonder why you feel burnt out. You wonder why you don't feel excited anymore. It's because you're pouring into people who don't pour into you. It's because you're giving your best energy to things that don't give anything back. And the hardest part? You know it. Deep down, you already know who's draining you. You know which relationships leave you feeling worse, not better. You know who you can't be your full self around. You know the conversations that leave you second-guessing your worth. But instead of facing it, you try to fix it. You tell yourself, maybe if you explain better, maybe if you show more patience, maybe if you give it more time, they'll understand, they'll change, they'll care. But they don't. And the more you wait for them to change, the more you lose pieces of yourself. You have to stop waiting for people to become who you need them to be. You have to stop hoping that energy that's always felt heavy will suddenly feel light. Some energy isn't meant to be in your life forever. Some people were part of a chapter, not the whole story. But you keep turning back to the same page, rereading old sentences, trying to make it make sense. You don't need to make it make sense. You need to move forward. You need to protect your peace, even if it means disappointing others. Because every time you choose others over yourself, you delay your growth. It's not selfish to distance yourself from what drains you. It's necessary. Because peace is not found in comfort zones. It's found in clarity, in knowing what you will and will not accept, in setting boundaries that protect your mind and your energy, in walking away from anything that doesn't match your values, your goals, your inner calm. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable at first. Yes, it's going to feel lonely sometimes. But I promise you, nothing is lonelier than constantly being surrounded by people who don't see you, hear you, or value you. You deserve relationships that recharge you, environments that inspire you, conversations that lift you higher. You deserve to feel safe in your own life. And if something or someone consistently robs you of that feeling, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to say, this no longer works for me. You don't need to explain. You don't need to beg for understanding. You just need to honor your energy because your energy is sacred. It's the fuel behind your dreams, your focus, your confidence, and the world needs that version of you. Not the drained, distracted, defeated version, but the bold, clear, and powerful version. And that version only shows up when you stop giving your energy to what exhausts you and start investing in what expands you. Letting go of draining energy is not giving up on people. It's showing up for yourself. And when you do that, everything changes. You become unstoppable. There comes a time when you have to stop pretending that everything is fine. You can't keep dismissing that heavy feeling in your chest, the tension that builds after certain interactions, the way your mood shifts when specific people walk into the room. That's not normal. That's not just a rough day. That's your body and your mind trying to tell you something. It's telling you that you're absorbing energy that's not meant for you. And the longer you ignore it, the more it drains you. This is not just about being tired. This is about being emotionally overloaded by environments and relationships that pull more from you than they give back. You've been taught to be kind, to be giving, to always be available. And while kindness is a strength, it becomes a weakness when it's not paired with boundaries. You can't keep saying yes out of guilt. You can't keep showing up for people who never check in on you. That is not loyalty. That is self-abandonment, and the cost of that kind of living is too high. You're not just losing time or energy, you're losing pieces of yourself. Your focus fades. Your passion dies down. Your self-confidence begins to erode because you're constantly surrounded by energy that makes you question your worth, your direction, your identity. Start paying attention to your patterns. Notice how your body reacts after certain conversations. Do you feel light, or do you feel like you need to lie down and recover? That's not a coincidence. That's your nervous system responding to emotional overload. Every time you tolerate draining energy, you send yourself a message that your well-being is not a priority. You tell yourself it's okay to feel miserable as long as others are comfortable. But you cannot build a strong, fulfilling life while constantly depleting yourself to keep the peace around you. You don't need to be everything for everyone. You don't need to be the fixer, the helper, the listener, the one who holds everyone else together. You have permission to take care of yourself first. You have permission to step back, to recharge, to say, I need space. And here's the truth. The people who truly care about you won't be offended by your boundaries. They won't guilt trip you for prioritizing your peace. In fact, the right people will support it because they understand that a healthy relationship is not about constant access. It's about mutual respect. Distance is not rejection. It's not cold. It's not cruel. It's clarity. It's wisdom. It's knowing that your energy is limited. And if you spend it all on chaos, you'll have nothing left for your growth, nothing left for your goals, nothing left for the life you're trying to build. The most successful people you admire, they're not just hardworking, they're selective. They're intentional. They know the importance of protecting their mind and space from noise, drama, and negativity. They don't entertain distractions, and they don't apologize for it. You have to start thinking the same way. Ask yourself, who are you becoming when you surround yourself with certain people? Are you becoming more confident or more insecure, more focused or more distracted, more alive or more drained? You don't rise by staying loyal to what's been pulling you down. You rise by choosing what lifts you up. And sometimes that means having hard conversations. Sometimes it means distancing yourself in silence. Sometimes it means walking away completely. And that takes strength. It takes clarity. But it's worth it. Because once you stop spending your energy on what doesn't serve you, you finally have the energy to invest in what does. You begin to feel lighter. Your vision sharpens. You sleep better. You think more clearly. You smile more. You begin to attract people and opportunities that match your peace, not your chaos. Your life begins to align, not because everything outside changed, but because you changed what you allowed inside. So take this seriously. Start being fiercely protective of your energy. Don't entertain what exhausts you. Don't stay in places that shrink you. Don't keep giving access to people who've proven they don't value it. You don't need a big explanation. You just need one decision: to stop tolerating the energy that drains you and start creating a life that energizes you. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. And self-respect is the first step to real freedom. You were not put on this earth to constantly explain yourself, to constantly shrink to fit into someone else's comfort zone, or to play small so others don't feel insecure around your power. Yet this is what you do. Every time you keep quiet instead of speaking up, every time you ignore your own feelings to avoid conflict, every time you say I'm fine when you're clearly not, what you're really doing is disconnecting from your truth. And that disconnection becomes exhaustion, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. That's the weight of suppressed energy, of being surrounded by people who don't see you for who you are, and instead drain the very life out of you. You keep trying to be the bigger person, to understand, to make excuses for others. You say things like they're going through something, or they didn't mean it that way, or it's not worth making a big deal. But here's what you're not saying: this hurts me. And here's what you're not doing: honoring that pain, protecting yourself from it. You've internalized the belief that your feelings are less important than someone else's comfort. And the longer you operate from that mindset, the more you allow draining energy to stay in your life unchecked. You can't heal in the same environment that keeps wounding you. And you certainly can't grow if you're constantly spending your energy trying to manage other people's moods, reactions, and expectations. That's not your job. Your job is to create a life that feels good to wake up to, a life that supports your peace, your purpose, your well-being. But you can't do that while surrounded by energy that confuses you, manipulates you, or makes you feel small. The truth is, if you're constantly tired after interacting with someone, that's not a coincidence. That's a red flag. That's the kind of energy that doesn't belong in your life anymore. You don't need to hate someone to walk away from them. You don't need to wait for a dramatic reason or a final breaking point. You don't need to justify the quiet realization that you feel better without certain people in your space. Sometimes the most powerful decision is the subtle one, the one where you slowly pull back, reclaim your energy, and choose peace over chaos. It won't always be easy. You might feel guilty. You might question yourself. But those moments of doubt are just the residue of your old programming. The belief that you have to sacrifice yourself to be worthy of love or acceptance. The moment you realize you're allowed to choose yourself, everything changes. You stop asking for permission. You stop over-explaining. You stop keeping connections alive that no longer serve you. Instead, you become intentional. You start saying no when it's not a full body yes. You start listening to how you feel after every conversation, every interaction. You start prioritizing your rest, your clarity, your alignment. And slowly the weight lifts. The anxiety quiets down. The fog begins to clear. And for the first time in a long time, you begin to feel like yourself again. It's okay to outgrow people. It's okay to admit that certain friendships, relationships, or environments don't fit you anymore. That doesn't mean you're ungrateful or cold. It means you're evolving. And as you evolve, your standards will shift. Your capacity for drama will shrink. Your need for validation will disappear. And your boundaries will get stronger. Not because you're building walls, but because you're building a life that feels safe from the inside out. So ask yourself this. What are you tolerating that you know deep down is draining you? What patterns are you repeating because they feel familiar, not because they're healthy? Who in your life has access to your energy that no longer deserves it? Be honest, because the truth will set you free, but only if you're willing to act on it. Only if you're willing to let go of what no longer aligns with your growth. There's a version of you that's waiting on the other side of these decisions, a version of you that wakes up energized, that laughs freely, that creates without fear, that surrounds themselves with people who uplift, inspire, and challenge them in the best ways. That version of you doesn't just protect their energy, they elevate it. And all it takes is one brave choice, to start distancing yourself from anything and anyone that drains you. Not tomorrow, not next year, today. You keep wondering why you're feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or anxious all the time. You question yourself, thinking maybe you're just not strong enough, or maybe you're not disciplined enough. But have you ever stopped to ask if the problem isn't you? It's the energy you're constantly surrounded by. Every interaction you have either feeds your spirit or feeds your doubt. And the most dangerous part is, draining energy doesn't always come from obvious sources. Sometimes it's the people you care about most. Sometimes it's the environment you've adapted to. And sometimes it's the version of yourself you're still holding on to out of comfort, not growth. You cannot become who you're meant to be by staying where your energy is constantly depleted. You can't keep giving away your emotional currency to people who only leave you bankrupt in return. Think about it. Your energy is your power. It's what fuels your decisions, your creativity, your resilience. And when that energy is being chipped away by unnecessary arguments, constant criticism, or unspoken resentment, how can you possibly expect to thrive? You won't. You'll survive, but you won't grow. You'll show up, but you won't shine. And life isn't meant to be endured that way. You've been conditioned to believe that loyalty means staying, that kindness means overextending, that strength means tolerating pain in silence. But the truth is, real strength is in knowing when to step away. It's in recognizing that peace is more valuable than proximity. Just because someone has been in your life for years doesn't mean they still belong there. Just because a space feels familiar doesn't mean it's still meant for you. Growth requires letting go. And letting go doesn't mean bitterness. It doesn't mean anger. It means freedom. It means clarity. It means giving yourself permission to walk toward what heals you and away from what hurts you. We get so used to dysfunction that we forget what calm feels like. We stay in cycles that drain us because they're predictable. And predictability can feel safe even when it's destroying us. That's why stepping away from toxic or draining energy can feel terrifying. You fear being alone. You fear judgment. You fear the unknown. But ask yourself this, what's more terrifying? Being alone for a little while, or spending your whole life surrounded by energy that stifles you? Because staying in the wrong energy doesn't just cost you time. It costs you who you were born to be. You don't have to make a dramatic exit. You don't need to announce your boundaries or prove your worth. You simply need to start paying attention. Who makes you feel lighter? Who makes you feel heard? Who respects your time, your dreams, your values? Sometimes the most powerful transformation is the one done in silence, when you stop explaining and start aligning. This isn't about blaming others. It's about owning your space. You are not responsible for how others feel about your boundaries. You are responsible for protecting your peace. You're allowed to create space between you and the chaos. You're allowed to protect your time, your joy, your mental clarity. And when you do, you begin to notice something incredible. You start thinking clearly. You start feeling energized. You start making decisions with confidence. You start attracting people who are aligned with your growth, not your wounds. And the more you distance yourself from draining energy, the more you reclaim your life. You stop settling. You stop playing small. You stop living on autopilot. You become intentional about where your energy goes. You start saying no without guilt. You start moving in a direction that actually feels good, not just familiar. And the beauty of that shift is, once you've tasted peace, chaos can no longer seduce you. So here's your challenge. Stop romanticizing energy that drains you. Stop calling it loyalty when it's really fear. Stop calling it strength when it's really suppression. You deserve to be surrounded by energy that makes you feel alive, not just obligated. And it all begins with one brave step, a decision to distance yourself from what no longer serves you and make space for everything that will. You don't need permission. You just need to decide. Your energy is your responsibility. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. There is a voice inside you that knows when something isn't right. It whispers to you in quiet moments. It speaks up when you ignore your gut. It feels heavy after certain conversations and interactions, but you've been trained to silence that voice, to brush it aside in the name of keeping peace, of being nice, of maintaining the image that you have everything under control. And over time, that voice grows quieter, not because it's gone, but because you've stopped listening. You've gotten so used to carrying energy that doesn't belong to you, that you don't even realize how much it's affecting your clarity, your ambition, your sense of self. Draining energy doesn't always come as conflict. Sometimes it's subtle. Passive negativity, constant complaining, people who never ask how you're doing, environments that feel heavy even when everything looks fine on the surface. And what happens is you slowly begin to adapt to that frequency. You lower your standards, you downplay your dreams, you overthink every decision. You become a version of yourself that is more focused on maintaining emotional survival than creating an extraordinary life. You begin to live small, not because you lack potential, but because you're surrounded by people who don't remind you of it. There comes a moment when you have to pause and ask yourself, why am I exhausted all the time? You have to get honest about who and what you're giving your energy to. Because the truth is, you can eat right, meditate, journal, work out, and still feel drained if you're constantly surrounded by energy that pulls you away from your purpose. This is the part no one talks about. Energy is not just about physical stamina, it's about emotional presence. It's about who you allow into your space, your thoughts, your decisions. And if you're letting people occupy space in your mind, who make you doubt your worth, who make you feel like you're too much or not enough, you are leaking energy you need for your own healing, growth, and expansion. You're not required to stay in spaces that exhaust you. You're not obligated to keep relationships alive out of guilt or history. You're not weak for stepping away. You're wise. Because distance is a form of clarity. It helps you see who brings peace and who brings pressure. It reveals who supports your boundaries and who tests them. And the moment you allow yourself to step back, even slightly, you start to notice things you couldn't see before. How much you were compromising, how often you were biting your tongue, how drained you felt for days after being around certain people. The most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. And if you constantly betray yourself to please others, to fit in, to avoid discomfort, you will always feel lost. You'll always feel like something is missing, no matter how much you achieve. That missing piece is you, your authenticity, your inner peace, your joy. And you don't find it by doing more, fixing everything around you. You find it by subtracting what doesn't feel right, by saying no when it would be easier to say yes, by walking away without guilt. By deciding that your peace is not up for negotiation anymore. There will be people who won't understand your need for space. Let them be confused. Let them assume. Let them wonder. You're not here to manage their perceptions. You're here to manage your energy, to show up fully for your purpose. to be grounded in who you are and where you're going, and the people meant for you will understand that. They won't drain you. They'll pour into you. They'll energize you, challenge you, inspire you, not confuse you, manipulate you, or leave you feeling empty. So from this moment forward, give yourself permission to prioritize your energy. Protect it like it's sacred, because it is. You cannot do big things, courageous things, life-changing things, if your energy is constantly being stolen by things that no longer align with who you are becoming. You have dreams that need your full attention. You have healing that requires your full presence. You have a life to live that deserves your full energy. Start showing up for yourself the way you always show up for others. That's how everything changes. That's how you reclaim your power. That's how you rise.